Hey there everybody, how you doing today? We're back doing the lessons of A Course in Miracles, and we are out of our review period, so we have a little bit of a longer reading today on both our course lesson and in A Year of Forgiveness. So here we go. All things are echoes of the voice of God. All things are echoes of the voice for God. And the birds chime in right on time. No one can judge on partial evidence. This is not judgment. It is merely an opinion based on ignorance and doubt. Its seeming certainty is but a cloak for the uncertainty it would conceal. It needs irrational defense because it is irrational. And its defense seems strong, convincing, and without a doubt because of all the doubting underneath. You do not seem to doubt the world you see. You do not really question what is shown you through the body's eyes. Nor do you ask why you believe it, even though you learned a long while since your senses do not deceive, or since your senses do deceive, that you believe them to the last detail, which they report is even stranger when you pause to recollect how frequently they have been faulty witness indeed. Why would you trust them so implicitly? Why but because of underlying doubt, which you would hide with show of certainty? Man, this is just coming right at you, so don't pretend to be so sure and confident. How can you judge? Your judgment rests upon the witness that your senses offer you. Yet witness never falser was this. Okay. Yet witness never falser was than this. I mean, come on. That language is so confusing. But how else do you judge the world you see? You place pathetic faith in what your eyes and ears report. You think your fingers touch reality and close upon the truth. This is awareness that you understand and think more real than what is witnessed to by the eternal voice for God himself. Can this be judgment? You have often been urged to refrain from judging, not because it is a right to be withheld from you. You cannot judge. You merely can believe the ego's judgment, all of which are false. You can merely believe the ego's judgments, all of which are false. I love that. It's not me judging, it's my ego. It guides your senses carefully to prove how weak you are, how helpless and afraid, how apprehensive of just punishment, how black with sin, how wretched in your guilt. This thing it speaks of, and would yet defend, it tells you is yourself. And you believe that this is so with stubborn certainty. Yet underneath remains the hidden doubt that what it shows you as reality, with such conviction, it does not believe. It is itself alone that it condemns. It is within itself it sees guilt. It is its own despair, and it sees you. Hear not its voice. The witness it sends to prove to you its evil is your own false self, and speak with certainty of what they do not know. Your faith in them is blind because you would not share the doubts their Lord cannot completely vanquish. You believe to doubt has vassals is to doubt itself. You must learn to doubt their evidence will clear the way to recognize yourself, and let the voice for God alone be the judge of what is worthy of your own belief. He will not tell you that your brother should be judged by what your eyes behold in him, nor what his body's mouth says to your ears, nor what your fingers touch reports of him. Wow, that is a lot of feedback on what's actually happening when we're in these human bodies relating with our brothers and sisters. He passes by such idle witnesses which merely bear false witness to God's Son. He recognizes only what God loves, and in the holy light of what he sees do all the ego's dreams of what you are vanish before the splendor he beholds. Let him be judge of what you are, for he has certainty in which there is no doubt, because it rests on certainty so great that doubt is meaningless before its face. Christ cannot doubt himself. The voice for God can only honor him, rejoicing in his perfect, everlasting sinlessness. Whom he has judged can only laugh at guilt, unwilling now to play with toys of sin, unheeding of the body's witnesses before the rapture of Christ's holy face. And thus he judges you. Accept his word for what you are, for he bears witness to your beautiful creation and the mind whose thought created your reality. What can the body mean to him who knows the glory of the Father and the Son? What whispers of the ego can he hear? What could convince him that your sins are real? Let him be judge as well of everything that seems to happen to you in this world. His lessons will enable you to bridge the gap between illusions and the truth. He will remove all faith that you have placed in pain, disaster, suffering, and loss. He gives you vision which can look beyond these grim appearances and can behold the gentle face of Christ in all of them. You will no longer doubt that only good can come to you who are beloved of God, for he will judge all happenings and teach the single lesson that they all contain. He will select the elements in them which represent the truth and disregard those aspects which reflect but idle dreams. And he will reinterpret all you see and all occurrences, each circumstance, and every happening that seems to touch on you in any way from his one frame of reference, wholly unified and sure. And you will see the love beyond the hate, the constancy in change, the pure in sin, and only heaven's blessing on the world. Such is your resurrection, for your life is not a part of anything you see. It stands beyond the body and the world, past every witness for unholiness, within the holy, holy as itself. In everyone and everything, his voice would speak to you of nothing but yourself and your Creator, who is one with him. So will you see the holy face of Christ in everything, and hear in everything no sound except the echo of God's voice, as the wind blows and the birds chirp. Beautiful. We practice wordlessly today, except at the beginning of the time we spend with God. We introduce these times with but a single, slow repeating of the thought with which the day begins. And then we watch our thoughts, appealing silently to him who sees the elements of truth in them. Let him evaluate each thought that comes to mind. Remove the elements of dreams and give them back, again, as clean ideas that do not contradict the will of God. Give him your thoughts, and he will give them back as miracles which joyously proclaim the wholeness and the happiness God wills his Son as proof of his eternal love. And as each thought is thus transformed, it takes on healing power from the mind which saw the truth in it and failed to be deceived by what was falsely added. All the threads of fantasy are gone, and what remains is unified into a perfect thought that offers its perfection everywhere. Spend 15 minutes thus when you wake, and gladly give another 15 more before you go to sleep. Your ministry begins as all your thoughts are purified. So are you taught to teach the Son of God the holy lesson of his sanctity. No one can fail to listen. When you hear the voice for God, give honor to God's Son. That's you. And everyone will share the thoughts with you, which he has retranslated in your mind. Such is your Easter tide. And so you lay the gift of snow-white lilies on the world, replacing witnesses to sin and death. Through your transfiguration in the world redeemed and joyfully released from guilt. Now do we lift our resurrected minds in gladness and in gratitude to him who has restored our sanity to us. And we will hourly remember him who is salvation and deliverance. As we give thanks, the world unites with us and happily accepts our holy thoughts, which heaven has corrected and made pure. Now has our ministry begun at last, to carry round the world the joyous news that truth has no illusions, and the peace of God through us belongs to everyone. Oh, there's just so much in this lesson. Lesson 151, all things are echoes for the voice for God. Man, okay. So that feels pretty good. I feel like what stands out for me is certainly when my thoughts are judgmental, that I really need to associate that with my ego, and all the data that I'm receiving is from my body's senses, those 5 senses. That's what I'm judging based off of. I definitely got the idea about guilt as this really big item of attention that brings our frequency down, and that when we really listen for the voice for God, and we know that all things are communicating that to us through us, that we are being healed, and then in turn we are healing the world. We're emanating a higher frequency when we come to that realization. All right, so let us see what A Year of Forgiveness has to say about lesson 151. All things are echoes of the voice for God. Oh, and before I do that, let me just tell you, I was at this Black Hills retreat that was a Zena Allen channeling retreat, and Carol gave us these gifts. Light Will Prevail is the mug that we all got to take home with us. Oh my God, there was so much more gifts in that retreat. Woo! Yeah, my lemon honey water is being enjoyed in a high vibrational vessel today. Cheers. All right, here we go. Lesson 151. All things are echoes of the voice for God. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one you know as Jesus. This idea of judgment based on incomplete evidence is something you all must really look at. When you see something on your television, read something on your Facebook news feed, or Instagram, or Reddit, or TikTok, or listen to people on YouTube rant and rave about something they hate that incites people into violence or war or whatever it is, they are basing their judgments on the surface actions of the ego consciousness. They are not loving in any way, shape, or form. They are in the battleground. They are at the ego's whim, and they are fully engaged with death. The ego kills. You see it in war, murder, family violence, and the destruction of the environment. The ego, in its efforts to get what it wants, destroys everything in its path. In the end, it can even destroy itself, as seen in the suicide victim. The untrained mind is dangerous. All of you who do these lessons must see that the ego mind let loose on the world can destroy everything. Really try to grasp this principle because it is very important. You do not know what somebody's past has driven them to. You do not know what evil thoughts torment them from their ego consciousness. You do not know the pain and suffering they live in. You do not know what drives their behavior. You do not know. You barely know what drives your own behavior. So you should not be quick to attack somebody else for doing something you do not like. Take that in. We suggest you stay in your own lane and focus on bettering yourself, nurturing yourself, and training your mind to see how unloving it can be. Relinquish unloving thoughts, beliefs, and ideas. Turn toward peace, compassion, and joy. Live a full life. Invest in your life because it is the only one you're truly permitted to live. When you interfere through judgment in another's life, clarify their minds, and train this most powerful creative device, the sky is the limit. When you interfere through judgment in another's life, you merely waste your own. That's a good one not to overlook. For those beings who invest in themselves, clarify their minds, and train this most powerful creative device, the sky is indeed the limit. They can do anything. Miracles become their way of living. It is not a better path than to sit and judge. Is that not a better path than to sit and judge others relentlessly? Your mainstream media systems are designed to get you to judge. That is what they train you to do in an effort to keep you underpowered and easily managed. How convenient. We want you to become powerful and unmanageable. Connect to the divine, guided by love, and lead the love revolution on this planet. I am that one you know as Jesus, and we will see you again tomorrow. That's right, we're out here leading this love revolution. It is a resolution as well, isn't it? All right, everyone, we are back at it again, out of the review period and on to new things. So enjoy this one today. Take a look at yourself. Let me know in the comments if you're discovering anything. I sure am. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.